Okay, the weather's turned, it's sort of snowing a bit, it's really cold. I'm just getting on anyway. Right, so I'm just going to recap quickly. So all the sockets are wired, lights are starting to be wired. Started second fixing some of the lights, as you can see. Started fixing some lights outside, floodlights, etc. And now I've made up the board for the consumer unit, light switch, a couple of sockets, contactor, time clock. Cut the board up. I've mounted some fixings on the corner there so that I can put it up on the wall and sit in the corner there nicely. And yeah, all looking good. So I'll catch up with you in a bit. Okay, so I've now got in an extra cable for the Playhouse. I'm going to run it along back of the beam there, run it round, run it with all the others across the top there, across the beam. I've run it in already, and now I've already got the mains in. There's a hell of a lot to connect up. So we've got double socket, switch, 4-gang switch, consumer unit, 6mm supply, 3 circuits, Playhouse, lighting and internal sockets, and we've got a box here for the time clock and contactor. And then because that switch was getting really busy with cables and you can't loop in some of these fittings, I've just decided to put another little box up here to run in some extra cables to do the looping in, so to speak. So that'll be a whisker box, and yeah, it'll look alright when it's all done. It's quite a lot to connect. Anyway, I'll start connecting. See you in an hour or two. Oh, and the snow is coming down. Okay, so I've wired up the 2 sockets, I've wired up the switch. Here's a bit of detail of the switch. There's a lot going on in there. So we've got the internal light, we've got the outside wall lights, we've got the floodlight, we've got a supply, a permanent supply feeding into where the time clock is, and then it comes back there and then goes off to the wall lights. Yeah, there's a lot of detail going on there. Got the neutral connections in there. Sorry about the light, it's getting a bit dark. We've got spare wires here for the 3 cores. It's all earthed back of the box, earth to the grid. These grids are quite good actually. BG. I was going to go for MK, but I decided to go for BG because everything else was BG, and I'm glad that I did actually. I've managed to get all the cables in where you see the double ones. I've even doubled the ends over for the 2 cables, so nice big terminals. The only thing is the actual screws are very small, they're not really very deep, so I could only really get a small terminal on, but they are nice and tight. And yeah, okay, so we're getting there. So next I'll connect up the consumer unit and then the time clock stroke contactor. Okay, right, just thought I'd show with the grid switch cover on. Looks quite neat. Nice, it's coming on nicely now. So just a little bit of detail. What I do with the boxes here and everything here is, you can see where I've drilled through, brought the cables through. I've obviously made the holes for the cables through the wood smaller than the actual cutout on the metal. This is so that the cables don't get caught on the edges. Everything's been deburred, so there are no sharp edges, and obviously this will protect it a bit more. So I've done that same thing on the others, and I've also done the same thing on these. This one, for instance, I've drilled a 32mm hole in the box and a 25mm hole into the wood. Same with these. Okay. Right, the whisker box is done. That's for the looping bit for the floodlights, and then also there'll be a permanent live running through there. That's for the PIR that will go up in the corner over there. Okay, I'll put the cover on and then connect up one of these two, probably the consumer unit. Okay, so the consumer unit's all done. The whisker box cover's on. Just got the photocells put up and the time clock and contactor. Okay, so yeah, so with the consumer unit, you can see there's a main switch, not RCD. The RCD is back at the house. That's the way a lot of people do it. A lot of people say that you should have the RCD locally. You know, it's a source of deliberation. I don't really want to open up a can of worms with this. So all I can say is that it works for me. If we get tripping here, which we shouldn't get, but if we do, the house is only over there. So, you know, it's just 20 seconds to walk, go back and put it back on again. I might eventually change it, but at the moment that's the way it's currently wired. I've got a lot of work to do, so this is how I'm going to keep it for now. See how I get on with it. You know, if we need to change it at a later date, we can. We'll do all our tests. We'll make sure everything works all right. We'll make sure the tripping times are okay. Make sure the earth loop is okay. No earth stake for this. It doesn't necessarily need one because you've got the RCD protection, TNS supply, so we've got separate earth coming into the house on the sheath, on the cable sheath. It's not PME, it's not TT. Okay, next thing to do is connect up the couple of bits there, and then I think I'll call it a day. It's getting dark now, it's cold. Snow didn't come too much, but okay, so the time clock contactor section is done now. It's all connected, runs via the switch, permanent live for the time clock via the switch, through there, through to the photocell, back out, livens contactor up, which in turn feeds the outside wall lights. The reason why I use a contactor is because the time clock doesn't work very well apparently with LEDs. So when you use it with a contactor, you don't have any problems with it. So that's what we're going to do. So yeah, all looking good. Put the covers on and I think I'll call it a day. We're running out of light. Need the lights on really. That'll be a job for next weekend. Okay. Right, all the covers are on now. So that section of the job is now complete. I think it looks quite good. A lot of work went into that. Right, okay. So I'll just finish off the rest of it next week.